Why? Why do people do this? Ugh. Why? Just why at this point? Oh, I'm recording, aren't I? How's it going, viewers? Mr. Incredi-Brony's back, and he's rolling with the punches, baby. Welcome to another review video, and this is going to be my very first review video that is not just a simple review, it's actually going to be a rant. I'm going to be ranting on a certain topic today, and honestly, I can't think of anything creative for the thumbnail, so I'm just going to use an angry picture of Mr. Incredible. That's the best I can do for you viewers to make it special. And listen, I know you guys are waiting for certain other videos to come out, but listen, this is an important video I need to talk about and address to all of you watching, okay? Especially if you're someone who wants to be a wannabe TV presenter or producer even. I don't know what you want to become, but you need to listen to me. So, and as you can tell, I shaved and I even got dressed for the occasion because I'm looking a bit like the nostalgia critic now. So, Doug Walker's his little cousin is here, ready to talk about the Bob the Builder remake. So, let me tell you something, viewers. As a child, I watched all kinds of great cartoons, and I'm sure you can guess that, really. I loved watching Cartoon Network. Most of all, I watched Ed, Edd and Eddy a lot. I loved watching classic cartoons that my mum and dad remember watching. Like, I got to watch Top Cat, The Flintstones, Wacky Racers, even Tom and Jerry. It was so much fun. But in my opinion, my favorite cartoons had to have been from the PBS Kids channel, or even Hit Entertainment. I loved Pingu. I loved Fireman Sam. I loved watching Thomas and Friends. I loved Barney. I loved so much shows as a kid. They were so much enjoyment, wholesomeness, great lessons, such iconic characters, and always got such a beautiful theme song. And among all of them, I loved Bob the Builder just as much as the next person did. So I grew up watching that a lot when I was really young, and every DVD that I owned of something like Fireman Sam or Pingu, they always played a trailer for at least one of the other shows, and Bob the Builder was one of them, of course, and they were so much fun to check out. My favorite episodes were, of course, whenever the gang got together to build something really cool, and of course, each character had their moment in the episode, or even got their own episode where you get to learn more about what their personality's like, and I adored that, especially the ones with your favorite ones. Like, who's your favorite vehicle? Scoop, Muck, Dizzy, Lofty, or Rolly? Hey, maybe it's one of the human characters, Bob or Wendy. But either way, let me explain quickly. If you don't know what Bob the Builder is, let me just explain in a quick little premise. Bob the Builder was a 1998 cartoon series that premiered back in 1998, of course, to teach children about the safety of construction. And it was a lovely animation show that consisted of a good amount of seasons, unfortunately ending in 2004, and it got a continuation series, which many people can consider it a spin-off, but it really isn't, because the only difference is that they're in a different location, and they introduced new characters like Scrambler, the fast vehicle dude, who's pretty cool, and it was supposed to be, it's in a different location where they have to build an eco-friendly environment thing, which is kind of what Fluttershy does in season 7 of My Little Pony, which is really cool. So, coincidence? I think not. However, that series got cancelled after a couple years. So, they made another continuation called Ready, Steady, Build It. And each one had different animation style, but the same characters and voice actors. And that was great. None of them were different, which is just, that's what I love about a lot of series, when they make sure each character is still the same that you grew up with. And I love that. Unfortunately, just like Ready, Steady, Build It and Project Build It, they both got cancelled. It is sad, I will admit that. But here's what really is aggravating me right now. I didn't even know this existed. Like, I'm serious, viewers. I did not know this existed until I heard a rumor by my friends in college. Like, I actually, the other day, and this was actually the day after I uploaded my Halloween specials, of course, like my reaction to Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, and Union of the Elements of Insanity, I think it's called. I heard a friend of mine mention that I actually heard that I think the Bob the Builder remake is actually going to be coming to the Disney Plus at some point. I was like, excuse me? A what? Oh, I'm sorry, I meant reboot. Sorry about that, Luca. No, hold up. Bob the Builder? A reboot? Can you explain on that, please? So yeah, apparently this series started back, I think, in 2016 or 15. I don't know, because it lasted until 2018 with only 3 seasons. I can't believe there's literally 3 seasons of this show that should not have existed. But here we are, viewers. And I hate to admit this, instead of it being animated by, of course, Hit Entertainment, it was created by Mattel Creations. And I despise this reboot so much that I had to make an entire list of what I despise about it. So I'm going to forget what to say in the video. So I'm going to keep it in here just in case I need to look down on it. So if you're wondering what Mattel Creations is, I'm so sad to admit this, but they are the same people who have done other reboots, and each one is just as bad as you think it is. They created Thomas and Friends, Big World, Big Adventure, and also Journey Beyond Sodor, which are 2 movies that I've seen Big World, Big Adventure, and I wasn't such a huge fan of it. At least it wasn't as terrible as Misty Island Review. Oh yeah, speaking of review, Misty Island Review is coming up next, Tamate 2009. I hope that comes out soon, Tamate 2009. I really want to see that. But either way, Thomas has had some hits and misses, honestly, and I've liked a lot of his films, but Big World, Big Adventure was just, I wasn't really a fan of it. And don't get me wrong, a lot of shows I just mentioned earlier in the beginning of the video that I grew up watching did get reboots. Like, Fireman Sam got a CGI series, which I'm not really that much a fan of, mostly because of the new designs and the voice actors for the kids. They did not suit well for me personally. Pingu got a reboot called Pingu in the City, which is more of an anime show because it's made by the people in Japan, which it was honestly alright. I enjoyed it, but I always will prefer the original Pingu series since I prefer them living in Antarctica, not in a human-like substance, you know? But, even The Wiggles got a reboot and it sucked, honestly. All the new actors were just, none of them felt right in my opinion. However, Bob the Builder reboot, Mattel Creations and Disney, I don't know what you guys are thinking, but why would you want to bring this series to Disney Plus where you need to pay to watch it, which I don't even have, if you could just watch it on YouTube for free? I've only seen 7 episodes of this show in the span of 5 days, and that's actually a reason why I haven't been recording for a while, because this show really offended me with what they did to my iconic characters of Bob the Builder. They honestly ruined so much, and I really can't express how painful that feels, honestly, that I want to talk about it in this video to remind you not to watch reboots of shows. Now, the only times when a reboot works is if you make sure it's a new characters and new story. With Bob the Builder reboot, they don't change anything. They just change pretty much the area they're in, and they just restart it all. But what they do change, and it's really annoying, is how all the characters you grew up with are so different from what they actually sound like. And all their personalities have been flipped around, and it really upsets me, which we're going to get into later. But like, let me just explain. Mattel Creations, I don't know what is wrong with them, but they tend to make a lot of terrible and crappy reboots of beloved series. They did it with Thomas and Friends by making Big World, Big Adventure, which no one really asked for. And of course, they made the Monster High 2022 movie, which also kind of sucked. Now they have this, which I didn't even know it existed until earlier this week. Anyway. So, Bob the Builder reboot, which consists, like I said, of 3 seasons, and they're in a different location. And I will say this is what really upsets me. The design is way too real, in my opinion. And I really am not a fan. Like, watch an episode on YouTube and you will see that the animation looks like it's way too real. Like, I'm serious. look at the buildings. They legit look like they're in like a real like play set of toys of Bob the Builder. And Bob's design just really shocks me. Like, look at his face and you will see that he looks 15 years old. What's with that? He's supposed to be in his early 20s. He just looks like a 15-year-old, like, cosplaying him now. How can they do that? And yes, before you say his original design doesn't look very old too, but his facial expressions looked just right for a 20-year-old, honestly. And in my opinion, I think they did that very well. In the reboot, he looks way too young. And if that isn't enough, all the construction vehicles, in my opinion, don't look cartoonish. The whole point of Bob the Builder was supposed to be a cartoon-ish world where nothing was really real except for the safety hazards that we teach the kids. But unfortunately, this looks too real. When you look at the construction vehicles, when you look at Scoop or Dizzy or Rolly or Muck or Lofty, what I see is this. I see the animators took a real life picture of actual vehicles in construction zones and then recolored it like red or pink or green and just drew a face on it. Eyes and a face, which looks wrong. And that's honestly a problem I have with the new Thomas and Friends CGI series. I'm not a fan of the talking mouths because the original TV series of Thomas and Friends was supposed to be as real as ever, like the Railway Express books were supposed to be. And you know what? I love how they did it in the original series. But the recreation, no, it's not right. In this case, Bob the Builder Reboot looks too real. It just doesn't look like a cartoon at all. And I don't appreciate that. And also, if that isn't enough, a lot of reboots tend to do this and it really aggravates me. They either introduce new characters, which has come out of nowhere, or they use the same characters and ruin them. Guess what? I will prove that by explaining that, no joke, one of my all-time favorite characters from Bob the Builder is literally sidelined. And those two characters that are sidelined is Rolly and Dizzy. I'm not kidding. Rolly and Dizzy are actually both sidelined. You hardly hear them talking at all in any of the episodes. From the 7 episodes that I've seen, they tend to only focus on Muck, Lofty, and like over 60% of the time, Scoop. And that's it. But whenever they do focus on Rolly or Dizzy, it's like barely 3 minutes. Heck, barely maybe 2 minutes. And they kind of ignore them. It's like they don't matter. And listen, I'm not an expert on construction, but I actually have an older cousin who is a carpenter, a professional carpenter. And I asked him specifically before I was going to make this video, what is important instruction items for, you know, a construction zone, cousin? And he's like, oh, simple. You need your digger, you need your steamroller, you of course need your cement mixer and all that. You see that? He mentioned cement mixer and steamroller. And which two characters are those? Oh yes, Dizzy and Rolly. Without a cement mixer, viewers, you can't put the cement in the like foundations of the building because then every building will have grass everywhere instead of actual floorboards. And without a steamroller, there'll be lumps all over the ground and you don't want that. So you need a steamroller and a cement mixer. So sidelining them is like they're saying they're not important. And I really am disappointed by that because I love Dizzy so much as a character. Her cute and just caring personality always has warmed my heart as a kid. I loved her voice. I loved her movement. She was such a cute character. And Rolly was such a sweetheart too. He was like a big dude, but with like a big heart. He was a smooth listener and a very music-loving guy. Like, he was always like very like in the corner kind of guy, you know? And I always used to say, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is his original voice. So, of course, when I watched the Bob the Builder Big Fish, Little Fish-ish musical. Speaking of musical, did you know that in 2000, the Can We Fix It album version was #1 on the Christmas charts? It beat out Westway. Yes, an Irish boy band, I think it's Irish, they actually beat them. A real band from 2000, Christmas Child. Look at that, it was all over the news. I am not joking, viewers. I wish I was, but I really am not. But what I will say is this reboot is so insulting to people like me who grew up watching Bob the Builder that it makes me wonder what they thinking. I don't know. But like I also mentioned about a lot of other reboots as well, they introduce new characters. Well, let's see. We have Leo, right, who is Bob's apprentice and a college student, and Curtis's son. Curtis, we don't even know who Curtis is. When did he have this kid? These are all new characters. Curtis's son, Leo. What? So apparently there's this new apprentice for Bob, which is Leo, of course, and he just comes out of nowhere. We don't really get enough introduction in time with him. Oh, I know that he's a college student. That's it. I need more to know about him. That's the problem with this reboot. They don't give character introductions. And that right there is a huge concern, especially if you want to sideline two of the main characters. Why aren't you going to focus on the side characters who are actually new? That would make more sense. But no, they just come out of nowhere. It's like, poof. Oh yeah, this is Tread. Poof. Oh yeah, this is Tiny. Poof. Oh yeah, this is Teuton. Poof. Oh, this is Stretcher. Poof. Oh yeah, this is Rocky. Poof. Oh yeah, that's oh wait, what's his name? Oh, that's Norm. Just what? I don't get it. You're just introducing the characters like they already existed. No, that's not how you do it. That's like the only good thing I can say about the Thomas and Friends like reboot / CGI series. Even they, and I repeat, they actually gave each character an introduction. And I even have a list of these characters. So here are some characters of Thomas and Friends that actually got their own character introduction episodes. Ryan, Hugo, Winston, and Scraff. And no joke, Charlie and the login logos, I think they're called, the loco keys, who are like one of the most hated characters of all. Even they get a character introduction. Even Diesel 10. I'm not kidding. Diesel 10 from Thomas and the Magic Railroad, which is like the best Thomas movie ever, gets a good character introduction. You know who he is and what kind of antagonist he really is. I think that's very well done. But the Bob the Builder reboot, they're just like, oh yeah, this is a Teuton, this is Tiny, this is Betsy, this is Cardis, this is Philip. Like, what? Just all these characters are just there. And some of them just feel like rip-offs. Like, for example, Tiny the crane, with a real operating crane, not like a small wheeled crane like Lofty. Tiny, in my opinion, is like a rip-off of Cranky from Thomas and Friends, who is actually iconic. Teuton is basically Ian Matkin, who was already a character in Bob the Builder, the original series, but just with a cement mixer attached to him. I don't get it. And the fact that they mention him in the intro, which we will talk about later, Betsy is just this camper van, which doesn't make sense in the first place. Why would you put a camper van in a construction zone? And Philip is a limo, who, by the way, guess who's in that limo? The mayor of the town they live in. And you know Mr. Bentley, who was an amazing character in the original series? He was the building inspector, of course. Well, guess what? He's now the mayor's assistant and kind of a baboon. Buffoon, I mean. They ruin characters like that. Speaking of ruining characters, now, I don't think they ruin Bob's or Wendy's personality that much, but I do think there's one complaint about Wendy I have. I don't like how they gave her this new position. She went from being such a very supportive head of the company, like, foreman, in my opinion. Like, I saw her as more of a head, like, operating system, because she was really good at, like, keeping everyone in charge and intact and all that. But in this reboot, they give her this new role that she's an electrical specialist, which we've never seen her do in the original show. When did she learn that? Can you explain this? And there's apparently this weird theory going around that Bob and Wendy actually married in the Bahamas, which I guess is nice, but they don't look like them. They don't look like they're married in the show whatsoever. So I don't know where that theory came from. However, it gets worse. Now let's talking about the construction characters. Everyone loves the vehicles in Bob the Builder, right? As you all know, Dizzy was always my favorite. Well, you see, she may still act the same in this remake, reboot, but all the characters are actually changed. For example, Rolly went from being so smooth and loving music to sounding like he's sucked a lot of helium. He actually sounds like me when I suck a lot of helium for some reason. And Scoop sounds way too overexcited and is now a screw-up. Like, he's actually a reliable character in the original one, but in this reboot, he's a screw-up that makes mistakes most of the time on purpose. Other times, unintentionally, but most of the time, it is on purpose. And he's such a screw-up, but yet he's so overexcited, he just sounds like a child almost, which is just wrong. I don't like what they did with Scoop. Mark sounds like a dummy. I don't know why, but he was actually one of the most... He was kind of a dummy in the original show because he made mistakes, but he apologized and actually knew how to fix it, right? However, in the reboot, he sounds like a total dummy. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the voice. I don't know. He just doesn't sound smart anymore. He always asks blatantly obvious questions that just don't need to be questioned at all. And if that isn't enough, This is probably the most heartbreaking thing I want to talk about. Lofty is the most ruined. And he was like my second favorite. And I think he was my mom's favorite, by the way. Lofty is really... I don't even know if you can even call him Lofty anymore. Lofty went from being an adorable coward that we actually had sympathy for, even though his voice can get a little irritating to some people. He's now more intelligent, less cowardly, so he's more brave and not afraid of anything. And kind of a prick. I'm not kidding. In every episode I've seen, he actually makes these savage remarks about characters, especially Scoop. Whenever he makes a mistake, he makes this, like, joke, but in a rude way. He makes fun of his situation. So you're literally being rude. What happened to Lofty? And like I said as well, all their faces they have are literally drawn mouths and eyes. Whereas in the original show, the eyes looked more natural. They looked like they actually belonged to them. And Lofty's mouth was really expressive and I loved it. But in this, none of them feel expression at all. It's like they're the same expression all the time. I don't like it. It's so weird. Why would they do this? But, of course, just like a lot of mistakes like this, viewer, there's always, at least one redeeming quality, right? Well, I don't know about it, but now let's talk about the intro. Now, a lot of cartoons, when they get like a different series, they always have to change the intro or use the same kind of intro, right? Well, with the Bob the Builder remake, you know what they did? Go and guess. I dare you. Okay, fine, I'll tell you. They got an entirely new singer to sing the same theme song, but they shortened it. They shortened it to 30 seconds. It's literally 30 seconds. You know what? Matter of fact, I can't show clips, I'm afraid, but I think I can actually play the theme right now. Actually, you know what? I will. If I could just find this stupid thingy. Like, this thing the intro went from being like over 50 seconds long to, I think about 14, I think. Just listen. If you can't hear it, I'm sorry, but listen.
Boots check, tool belt check, hard hat check. Mark and Lofty and two times two. Leo and Wendy join the crew. Bob and the team have so much fun and they get the job done. Yeah! Bob the Builder, can we fix it? Bob the Builder, yes we can.
Do you get it? I think you get it now. So, I have so much to talk about this intro. First of all, why did they shorten it? Like, they actually skipped an entire verse that's really important. Remember in the original how it goes, Bob and the gang have so much fun. Working together, they get the job done. That sounds great, right? Well, in this, they missed one of the lyrics. It goes like this. Bob and the team have so much fun and they get the job done. Yeah! What? You missed it! And I did hear the full version and they actually have it. Why would you get rid of it? What? And if that isn't enough, the beginning doesn't even mention all the characters. All they mention is Scoop, Muck, and Lofty, and Two-Tone 2, Leo and Wendy. That's it. And even new intros introduce more characters, but they don't mention them all. That's a problem. The original show mentioned pretty much every single main important character. It was Scoop, Muck, and Dizzy, and Rolly 2, Lofty, and Wendy. See? Those are all the characters. Then it mentioned Travis, Spud, Pilchard, and Bird. However, this just introduces some of them. Huh? And whilst it sounds catchy, it just doesn't sound right. I really can't believe they did this. You know what? Because I like to suffer, let's play it once again. This time I'm going to make it a little bit louder.
Boots check, tool check, hard hat check. Bob the Builder, can we build it? Bob the Builder, yes we can. Scoop, Muck and Lofty, and Two-Tone 2. Leo and Wendy, join the crew. Bob and the team have so much fun, and they get the job done. Yeah! Bob the Builder, can we fix it? Bob the Builder, yes we can.
What the actual... Like, seriously. What did I just experience? I don't know what it is, viewers, but it sucks real bad. I really want to end this now. However, I talked about why this remake sucks, but there's one last thing I need to talk about, and that's what this other piece of paper is. I asked my cousin, who's a huge fan of voice acting, to, like, go through the entire cast to see who's in it and see if it's anything special to talk about. And guess what? She told me these exact words. Incredi-Brony, you're going to freak out. Please read them in the video and don't read them yet soon. So this is all new to me. I have not read these casts until now. So shall we find out who's in the cast? I think we should. All right. So she wrote down the shocking voice cast. Get ready, Incredi-Brony. All right. So first of all, we have Richard Ian Cox as Two-Tone and Tiny. Okay. Wait a minute. Richard Ian Cox? Hold up. Okay, maybe I've been watching too much My Little Pony recently, but isn't that the VA for Snails? I swear, that's the same VA for Snails. You know, the guy who says, why is they called it a flea market? They don't really sell fleas? I'm pretty sure. I could be going. Okay, I think I'm losing it. Let's keep going. Ian James Corlett as Rolly. Ian James Corlett, the original Goku voice from Dragon Ball Z? And hold up, didn't he voice Silver Shield from My Little Pony Season 4, the episode Leap of Faith? What? Yeah, he's the character that helps Flim and Flam sell the Curatonic thingy. Hold up. Okay, let's continue. Jacob Scipio as Leo. Jacob Scipio? He was in Bad Boys for Life as the villain. Yeah, Armando. What? Okay. This is interesting. Let's keep going. Joanne Froggatt as Wendy. Joanne Froggatt? She was in Downtown Abbey. I haven't seen it, but I've heard I think she's in it. Hold up. Let's keep going. Lee Ingleby as Bob. Lee Ingleby. Wasn't he in Crooked House and the Street series? Also, Inspector George Gently. What? Okay, I don't know how they get these big names in. I'm sure it can't get worse, right? Let's see. Vincent Tong as Muck. Vincent Tong? The voice of Flash Sentry from Equestria Girls? Okay, now that is mind-blowing. And didn't he voice Kai in Lego Ninjago the series? The Red Ninja? Okay, that's interesting. What else we got? Blake Harrison as Scoop. Blake Harrison. He was in Betweeners as Niall. What? No, this can't be real. And he was in Dad's Army. Okay, that's too much. Okay, last one. Claire Collett as Dizzy. Hold up! Claire Collett? Hold up! Are you telling me that my favorite character, Dizzy, is actually voiced by Sweetie Belle from My Little Pony? Excuse me? How did I not notice that? Okay, now I'm really cheesed off. This is too much. How could you? Reboot, why would you do this to me? Are you really trying to ruin my childhood now? Why are you doing this? If this actually comes to Disney Plus, I'm gonna flip it. And I'm glad, and I hope you're satisfied with this, viewers, because this is one of my only rant videos I'm ever gonna make. I cannot believe this is real. And the fact that it has this amount of VAs that I know is too much. Well, I've got my blood boiling. I don't even know what to do now. Oh, you know what? I know how to feel better. There you go. I shall see you all in the next video, viewers, if I can do one, because I am sweating down here. Holy crap. Either way, love you all, but if you enjoyed this particular video, leave a like on it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're interested. Follow me on Instagram, link down below. And until then, stay positive, keep calm, stay safe, be incredible. And as always, Brony on. Peace.